Beautiful folks, what is up and how are you doing? This is Valentine Unplugged live from the Danger Room, and I hope the holidays have been good to you. In this video, I'm giving y'all the keys, literally the keys to making the dope SZA type beats that you've always wanted to make. Let's go. Alright, welcome back into FL Studio, beautiful people. In this video, we're going to do things as follows. I'm going to demo 4 chord progressions which you can use to make your own SZA type beats with, but I'm also putting you onto a couple of sounds that you can use to achieve that quintessential SZA sound. I know everybody's hype and anticipation for her album. So at the end of this video, you'll have 4 chord progressions that you can use, but also a bunch of sounds that you can use in your VSTs to achieve that sound. Let's go. So just now, y'all got to listen to a super wavy and lush chord progression, quintessential SZA. And the cool thing is, it's pretty accessible because you only need 3 chords in order to replicate it. All you really need to do is start working in a minor key, so whatever minor key you want, it's fine. And you need your 6th degree, your 5th degree, and your 1st degree. So it's a typical 6-5-1 chord progression, which is very common in R&B. In my case, I opted for an F major 7 chord. I cycled into what is actually supposed to be an E7 chord with a flat 9, because if I raised it, it would be a regular E9 chord, but this is an E7, so an E dominant 7 with a flat 9, and I'm cycling back to an inverted version of my 1st degree, which is an A minor 7 chord. That's practically it. Now here you can see I simply just doubled that 7, put it in the bass, but I kept my 1, of course, same thing, and here I added a little grace note just to add some little flavor. So in terms of sounds that I use for this beat, I use the Ghost in the Machine patch in Glaze, and Glaze is of course Native Instruments, very specific R&B library in Contact. Copy it if you can, it's a gem. And this is one of my favorite patch because it emulates that sine wave that you hear, especially if you want to name a specific SZA song that uses that sound. It's Doves in the Wind, which features Kendrick Lamar on it. That's the kind of sound you get. But you know, you look at my Omnisphere and you can actually see that I use this very interesting patch right here, if Omnisphere feels like loading, and it's the Childhood Toy Celeste, which sounds like feels like it adds a really deep and evocative layer, you know, kind of innocent almost. But I've got another Omnisphere patch which is open as well, and this one is pretty cool. It's the Sweetness Rose patch in Omnisphere, but I used the granular synthesis module on it to, you know, add some texture to it. So it sounds like this right now. So this is a chord progression that I'm really happy to break down for y'all. For this chord progression, you're going to have to be working in the major scale, and you're going to rely on your 6th degree, you're going to rely on your 7th degree, and you're going to rely on your 5th degree at the end. This isn't the 5th degree, but I'm going to explain to you why it is the way it is. Alright, so the chords that I'm rocking with for this chord progression, I'm rocking with a G minor 9th chord, I'm rocking with an A minor 7 chord, and I'm rocking with this F sharp diminished 7 chord. Now this is kind of weird because you're seeing that I'm not closely following the notes in the scale as evidenced by this E and this F sharp chord. So what I did, you know that in the major scale your 7th degree is supposed to be a diminished chord. I decided to take this D sharp, my 5th, raise it up 1/2 step, plant this E on top as a 7th, and that gives me my A minor 7. And you have the liberty to do that kind of stuff if it conveniences you or if it makes your chord progression that much sweeter. Same here. I could have ended the phrase with a dominant 7 chord, but I wanted to cycle back to my G minor 7 chord, minor 9th chord, right? And one thing that you need to know is one good way to cycle back to your minor chord is to use a diminished chord or a diminished 7 chord that's 1/2 step lower. It cycles back so nicely. So one thing that's also cool is that this is a chord movement that I hear in a lot of SZA's beats. I hear it within that song that Travis Scott does. You can hear it in I Hate You. You can hear it in Hit Different. You know, it's 2 chords and 1 chord that allows you to cycle back to the beginning in a very tension-filled fashion. The sound making all of this possible is the SZA Action Plus patch in the polysynths folder of none other than X-Band, which is the GOAT. Y'all know about X-Band, and if y'all don't know, I'm gonna put you on. X-Band is a hidden gem for what it costs, honestly, and this is the most defining sound in the entire chord progression. Of course, I supplemented that with Omnisphere, of course, Omnisphere coming through with a very lush patch. Please load, thank you. It is the Dynatransfer patch, which sounds like this. You know, very quintessential trance kind of sound, but it does have its place here. And of course, in Contact, I'm rocking with the Ghost in the Machine patch, which I broke down in the previous chord progression, of course. Alright, so this chord progression has a lot of hurt in it, and I don't know what happened to me that I wrote this one, but still, we're rocking with it. So we're still in the key of A sharp major. We're still rocking with our 6th degree, which is a G minor 9th chord. And we're using this chord here, which is an A augmented chord as a passing chord to lead into this D minor 9th chord. We're playing it twice in unison, and then we're ending again on what is an inverted version of a D minor chord. However, we decided to add that G on top for good measure. So it kind of almost looks like an A major 6 chord, but honestly it isn't. The most defining instrument in this beat is simply Joe's Jam, which is a snapshot used in the Scarby 8200. Now, Native Instrument has a good series of electric pianos. I think it's called the, wow, what is it? It's called the Vintage Keys Collection. Yo, cop it if you can. Amazing. Chords that I'm rocking with in this progression: a G minor 7 chord with a double root note up top. I'm rocking with a D7 flat 9 chord, aka a D dominant 7 chord with a flat 9. This would be a D9 chord, a D dominant 9th chord. This is a D dominant 7 with a flat 9. I'm cycling to a D sharp major 9th chord, and I'm landing back on that D dominant 7, this time with a doubled root note. That's basically it. So this is a pretty old beat, so I don't have access to a lot of sounds. I mean, a lot of the drum sounds here are missing. But what you need to what you need to know is that I made this beat mostly using this Omnisphere patch, which is a Jazz Guitar Fingers B, which you can find in the guitars section of Omnisphere. And I supplemented that with an electric piano, the Funky Rio in the Mark I bank, of course. And then I think I have a patch, the Kaimonic patch. That's all there is to it. So it sounds like this right now. Alright, beautiful folks, so that wraps up our video. I do hope that you enjoyed me breaking down some SZA type chord progressions and giving you the heads up on a couple of sounds that you should absolutely be using in your SZA type beats. Now, if you enjoyed this video, like, share, and subscribe. Let me know, and let me know which kind of sound you would like me to break down next. I'm thinking either black, Ty Dolla $ign, whatever. You name it, and I'm gonna try it. Y'all be easy. Peace.